4 bites.
It is currently, what time is it? I don't know what my phone's
It is 9:29 p.m.
on January 4th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Birthday girl.
That's exactly what I wanted to be doing on my birthday. That's not sarcasm. I really did want to do this.
Well, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah, she just pretty much wants to hang out with us.
Yeah, we're the best.
Yeah. Welcome to Bookish Bites, a
Yeah.
bookish pod with bookish people and bookish snacks.
Mm-hmm.
We're so excited that you're here. I'm Hannah. I have been reading since I was little. Reading's my favorite thing to do. I definitely fell out of it after high school, and then I picked it back up in July, and I managed to read 85 books last year. I read a lot of romance. I've dabbled in some fantasy, recently some science fiction romance, read a few memoirs. I truly run the gambit. I'm really excited to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I have so much to say. I have so many opinions. So much to talk about. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm Haley. I've always loved reading, especially like at the start of middle school and then like high school. I really got into reading, and then same thing, like once I became an adult, I got married like almost immediately out of high school. Immediately after high school, I got engaged, and then I got married, and then I had a kid, and so I just stopped reading for a while because adult life gets busy. And then recently, this past year, I started reading again. It was actually because I saw you started reading, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start reading again, because I had been wanting to. It's one of those things like you're like, oh, I need to get back into it, and then you don't until you actually make the choice to do it. So I did, and I haven't stopped since. Like it was like it just clicked once I started reading again. I was like, I can't not read again. So
Yeah.
I've just been back in the game.
Once you get going, it's hard to quit.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your favorite genre?
My favorite genre is definitely romanticies. So like fantasies in general, I love, but romanticies have been my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm Alanis, and I have been reading for a long time too, but it's been more like sporadic. Like, read a lot in middle school, not so much high school, and then outside of high school I read a little bit more, and then when life happened with engagement and wedding and kids, like just fell off of it, and then just recently, it was like October, I picked up ACOTAR, and then I read that whole series in 2 weeks. Flew through it. And then, so I've read like 8 whole books in just 3 months. I was super proud of myself for that. Because going from like no reading for like years to
Absolutely.
just like rushing through those 8 books, like, it was a lot.
And some chonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some thick boys.
And each book got thicker and thicker. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
save for Frost and Starlight, but
Sure,
you know.
Sure.
Court of Silver Flames, though.
She's thick.
She's a big girl.
Yeah.
But my favorite genre is fantasy. Just like one of my favorite series is Lord of the Rings. And
Little nerds.
and most recently, I think that it's become more like romantasy.
That's adulthood, baby.
Yeah. But then I've also been enjoying not just fantasy recently, just kind of dabbling in the romance area.
I've been converting her to romance.
You've converted us all to romance.
Just like you've converted us all to Kindles.
Yeah. The
This
Kindles.
is my greatest achievement. Hold them up, ladies. This is my greatest achievement.
Never thought I would. Never thought I would.
I'm so proud.
Now I
I'm
can't.
still jealous of your color, though. The
so
green
cute.
is
I love
gorgeous.
the green. Thank you.
Haley and I have known each other since we were like 8 years old, I think.
3rd grade.
3rd grade. It was the first time I was in public school. I was homeschooled until 3rd grade, and then my mom put me in, and we lined up alphabetically, and you were right behind me day one, and then we were seated alphabetically right next to me, and then at the back of the line was Jacob, Alanis' husband. So the 3 of us have known each other since we were 8 years old, and then we met Alanis in high school, but you've known my sister since kindergarten? y'all were in the same
It was,
kindergarten class or
second
something
grade,
like that.
right? Second grade, we actually had the same
Second
teacher.
grade, yeah, like insane. And then, but we weren't crazy close. Like we weren't ever like
Right.
super close. Even you
Right.
and I, like we were good friends because when you go to a school as small as we did, it's hard not to be good friends.
Right.
But I feel like we really found ourselves in adult friendships, which is so nice. It's so fun. I never knew what adult friendships could be until I had them, and I'm very grateful. But yeah, so now here we are. All of our significant others are best friends. And now here we are, and it fits very, very well, which I'm so grateful for. And now that I've pulled you over to the Kindle life and the romance story life, like it's truly my plan is all coming together.
Yes.
It's really working out. We're coming up, Hannah.
Yeah.
Well, also not only the fact that our husbands are all best friends, but they all work together too. I think
Oh,
it really
yeah.
like ties in that like ultimate bond of just
Yeah.
We
just
truly
can't stay away from each
cannot
other.
get rid of one another. We share a wall, Alanis.
Yeah, we do.
We share a wall. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm very grateful for all of it. I'm super grateful that it's let us here and given us this opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
So for this week, we are going to be discussing A Court of Thorns and Roses, just book 1. And every week we're going to have our snacks and drinks themed around whatever we're going to talk about. So for this week, we have our goblets here to represent the roses. It's actually just cranberry juice, but it's delicious. And then we have a whole plate of crushed Oreos and worms to represent the mud that Feyre had to chase the giant Middengard?
Middengard
The
worm.
Middengard worm. So those are our cute little snacks. So if you see us like popping some gummy worms, that's why. So yeah.
So, book 1.
Book 1.
Book 1 starts with Feyre.
I just finished it like yesterday. So I'm
Well,
fresh.
and like I said, I've been done with book 1 since
Yeah.
October.
I read book 1 in October. I read book 2 in
We
November.
tandem read.
Yeah, we did. Oh my goodness.
We tandem read until I got to Akamath.
You passed me in Akamath, but then I still did finish it quicker than I have the rest.
Oh, yes. You
'Cause I
stopped
still
at
haven't-
Akawar.
Yeah, I still haven't finished Akawar.
Tisk, tisk.
Yeah. Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. But you just finished the first one.
did, and I loved it.
But like having just finished, how do you feel?
I feel so many things. So first, I just read, to preface, I read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, which is a very different setting from this. And I loved, like, the dragons and, like, the rough and tumble, like, war college. So going into this, knowing it was going to be about, like, fairies and fae and, like, roses. And, it's like, I was, like, very worried I wasn't going to enjoy it as much. But I loved it so much. Yeah. And, like, I especially love, like, Sarah has, like, such a different type of writing than Rebecca Yarros does.
So much.
But, like, they're both wonderful. I love both of their writing, but I loved, like, they're honestly, like, this is over dramatic, but there were parts in her writing where I literally cried. Like, not at anything, like, plot-wise that happened, but just, like, the way that she described things, the way that she described,
detailed.
like, the atmosphere of, like, the Enchanted Forest, and, like, the way that she felt when she was painting, like, it just made me cry, because I was like, this writing is so beautiful.
It really is beautiful. SJM, people can say what they want about SJM, but she paints a pretty picture.
Yeah.
She really does.
You really, really feel like you're in it.
Yeah. And even though, like, I was telling them, like, the beginning was kind of slow, but, like, I enjoyed it because she was so descriptive and she really had to, like, set the scene of who Feyre was and what she came from and why she did the things that she did. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I will be starting the second one tomorrow. I
I'm
would
so
have today
excited.
if I wasn't busy today, but
I'm so excited. But this is just on book 1. We're not touching Akamath. Your time will come, Reese lovers. I promise. I promise it'll come. Right now, we're talking about Tam Tam, and you just have to deal with it. Because, okay, let's be fair. All you've read is book number 1.
and I love Tamlin.
We love Tamlin.
Like, don't get me wrong. I am really enjoying Reese, and I love Reese. I love
this much that
Zayden.
you've gotten.
Zayden's on my Kindle, baby. Like, I love me some Zayden Ryerson. And so whenever I started reading about Reese, it was just giving all Zayden vibes. So I was like, I am going to like this boy. I'm going to like him. But I
And
really
you
am
will.
trying to just enjoy Tamlin right now. And
Yeah.
I do enjoy Tamlin.
Yeah, Tamlin is
So-
good in the moment. He
Yeah.
is very,
Very
good in
much
book
is.
one.
Yeah.
It's what we've told a couple people now, because especially with TikTok the way it is, like, you don't hear about Tamlin. And
No.
if you're on Book Talk, you're hearing about Feyre and Reese.
Yep.
It's everywhere. And so then you start book one and it's like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why is no
Yeah.
one talking about him?
Yeah.
And so, like we've told a couple people, just let yourself love him. Let
Right.
yourself love him. Get the full experience of the book. Because Tamlin book one, like, he's not awful. You appreciate him for what he is and what he's doing in the moment.
There were some things I highlighted that I was like, it's just so clear. Like, even from like the beginning, like, he did not have to do all that. Like, he did not, which, like, near the
Above
end of the
and
book,
beyond.
near the end of the book, we learned that, like, he was trying to break the curse or whatever.
Sure.
But she was like, it had been months since he, like, sent any of his soldiers back out. And when he finally sent
Andres?
Andres,
Is that, I can't remember, but
Yeah.
it sounds like what you're trying to say.
but when he finally sent him out, like, he didn't have to take her back because there had been so many other people. So, like, it wasn't like he could know in that moment if he loved her or not. So, like, it really was a selfless thing because he really was all in all doing it for his people.
I mean, he could have just taken her and not done anything with her
He
family.
didn't
Exactly.
have to. No.
He
Like,
didn't
he
have to-
supported every single bit of her family.
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Above and beyond, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
not even just
Yeah.
gave them enough to get by. Like,
Right.
truly went above and beyond for them. It was
Here's a
insane.
huge mansion. Here's everything you could eat. Here is all the money you could ask for.
Yeah.
Here's a life you could,
Like, literally couldn't
it
have
was
dreamed of
insane.
having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, beautiful.
And like, he didn't have to do that.
No.
He didn't have to give her everything that she wanted. Like, he didn't have to let her, like, paint wherever she wanted
Right.
or, like, explore the garden, like, whenever she wanted. And
No, but to be fair, if he wanted to break the curse, she had to love him.
right,
Yeah.
that's true.
So, I mean, it did play to his benefit to do good things for her. Granted, she wouldn't have ever known about fully what he did for her family had it not played out the way it did. But as far as what he did for her there was definitely benefit for him in doing that.
Like, at Callan May, whenever Tamlin told her to, like, stay locked away, and
That's-
Lucian later
yeah.
explained, like, he told you to stay away because had he smelled you that night,
It would have been
it
over.
wouldn't he would have taken you and it wouldn't have been the same Tamlin. So he had that thought in mind, like, I don't want to use her that
Yeah.
way. Like, he had that heart to say, like, stay in your room, don't come out, because whatever I do to you, like, it's not going to be me. And so, like, if he really truly didn't love her, he wouldn't have cared, like, had she come out and he smelled her and then he, like, had his way with her.
I'm going to play devil's advocate again. I honestly hadn't thought about any of this until right now. This is coming off the rip. But if he had let her come out and he had smelled her and he had taken her at Callan May, she wouldn't have loved him. And he needed her to love him.
That's true. That's true.
Granted, none of it worked out the way it was supposed to in
Right.
the end anyway. Like, I think maybe towards the end, like, his choice to send her home was definitely more indicative of, oh, like, you truly care about her.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, he would have pushed a little bit more because she was so close.
Yeah.
He would have pushed just a little more, said it himself a couple more, like, you know what I mean? Like, he would have pushed the
fact that
issue.
he was so pushy to get her back home, though, was what I was really like.
I kind of took it as, like, being in the state of loving Tam Tam right now. I saw it as him, because I remember him, like, saying in the book, because I remember when she found out, like, when Alice finally told her everything, like, about the curse, she was like, why would he send me back? And it was because he was worried that Amarantha would just kill her, like, because obviously Amarantha wanted Tamlin for herself. So, like, seeing, like, the curse being broken would have killed her anyways. So, like, I kind of get why Tamlin sent her away, but also
But if the curse is broken, he'd have his powers and could protect her.
right, that's the other thing. And then Lucian, I remember even, like, when she was getting in the carriage to go away, Lucian was like, he said, can't we have a few more days? Because it was 3 days until the curse was
Right,
like
right.
expired.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lucian was like, can she just stay like a few more days? And Tamlin was like, no. So like, why didn't he keep her the
The
few
added
days.
issue at that point, though, was that Reese had already come. Rhysand had showed up.
Yep.
And she had given the
Right.
fake name. She had given them Claire's
Right.
name.
Right.
Yeah.
And Reese took that back to Amarantha. And so truly at that point, I think that Tamlin thought it was like no holds barred, basically.
That,
She
that
had
they were
kind
gonna
of
kill her
things
family, not
things
her.
were
Yeah.
things were spiraling a little more than I think they had anticipated.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he was given the time limit and he still had 3 days left. But then from Amarantha's perspective, that means that like it's crunch time to make sure nothing works out.
Yeah.
It's crunch time to keep eyes on them, and that's why Reese. How many times did Rhysand come by? Because he was there at Callan May,
It was just the 2 times.
and then he showed up at the house whenever they were having dinner or something.
Didn't he show up when he littered the front with the fountain?
With that time too, with the head and the fountain,
Yeah.
but they didn't see him. They just
Yeah,
assumed
they
it
just
was from the
assumed it
night
was
court.
Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the Ator
Yeah.
Yeah.
sounds horrific.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Sounds horrific.
Mm-hmm.
They come back in book 2.
Ooh.
Again, they're like a whole species of them. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't care for them at all. But I want to go back and talk about Alice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love her.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Alice. From the beginning, I was just like, she's giving good mom energy. She's giving good, like, auntie energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to where she was caring and helpful, though, I mean, it was her job.
Right.
But she was, like, the brutally honest, you know? Like,
Right.
she wasn't trying to help keep secrets from her if she didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Alice.
Mm-hmm. And you could tell she truly cared, like, for her,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't like she didn't care enough for her. Like, she didn't care for her like she did her boys, but like she cared enough
Sure.
that I think it was a little bit beyond like the curse being broken.
I like that she didn't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she gave it to Feyre how it was.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think she needed that.
Yeah.
And she wanted that.
because everybody around her was acting
They were
like
dancing
fake.
around her.
Yeah.
like
The only other person who really wasn't was, like, honestly, Lucian. Like, I really liked Lucian in this
Yeah.
book, too, because he was like that sarcastic older brother vibe, you know?
I
Where
love
he's like,
Lucian.
oh, I don't want you here. Like, you need to go. I can't believe Tamlin brought you back here. But then, like, you could see he truly cared for her,
Yeah.
and, like, had her best interest at heart. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I loved him, book 1. Oh,
Yeah, me too. When her and Tamlin had sex for the first time, it was kind of like it happened pretty quick, and so that was something that made me pause and go like, though I love this, that makes like she had already met Reese at this point, so that made me think like if this is a slow burn book, knowing that like you guys talked about stuff happened in book 2, I was like, then she doesn't end up with Tamlin because this like happened so fast.
right,
So
right,
that's
right.
what made me think.
also the first book is not that spicy, right?
No, there's only 2 instances where they had sex and they like
And it wasn't
it was
very
kinda
detailed, right?
but it was not very
Yeah,
detailed.
that's what I
No,
thought.
yeah,
Okay.
it was very quick.
Like, do we have any idea of what that timeline looked like when Feyre left home, left the mortal realms, and then was brought to Prithian?
They said it was like 3 months, right?
I was gonna say
Because
was
it
a
went
few months, I think.
from the one
Oh, because
Callan May into
right,
the
and then
summer
she was also there for the
solstice,
summer
right?
solstice, Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So spring to summer, right?
Yeah.
so Callan May happens. That's where we meet Reese for the first time. But we don't know that it's Reese yet, right?
No.
Because he doesn't introduce himself.
Mm-mm.
He just saves her,
Yeah.
which was
And she says
honestly pretty hot.
he's the most handsome man that she had ever seen. So immediately then I was like, whoa,
You're like
tall,
oh,
dark, and handsome.
oh,
Also to
that.
just look at the
Hello.
man and be like, whew, the most handsome man ever.
Oh.
Yeah, knowing Tamlin already,
Right,
And at
right.
that point, it's clear that she has feelings for Tamlin.
Right.
So like when you read that, you're like, interesting.
Okay, but let's talk about how Pharaoh was looking for trouble.
Literally, like, stay in your room, girl.
Homegirl was looking for. I mean, the whole first half of the book,
Mhm.
she's looking for trouble. She's trying to get out as soon as she gets in. This man is feeding you and clothing you and
She's
taking
giving
care of
very
your
much
family.
Damsel in distress.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, truly, yeah. that was like one of my big things, like when I read Fourth Wing for the first time, because Violet is so not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a breath of fresh air after doing book one, Feyre. Because, I mean, she does, you finished the book, she's a little less damsel-y.
Right.
But the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
such a damsel, but also looking for trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to get into trouble. I just knew, I was like, she's literally gonna get her ass beat.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to leave. Stop thinking that your father got off his rear and came all the way to
Literally.
Brithian. Just stay in the house. It's so pretty. There's so many rooms.
It literally took her catching the cereal, and the cereal being like, "Stay with the High Lord, no matter what," and then her almost dying because that's when the
Naga?
Naga came. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tamlin had to go and save her, and he was like, "Let's go home and never leave."
Dude, that scene, first of all, the cereal has my whole heart.
I love
Yeah.
the cereal.
I love the cereal.
I assume there's more that happens in the other books with the
Absolutely.
cereal. Okay, because
Absolutely.
I was like, I don't like love the cereal right now, just because it was one scene.
But see, that one scene is truly what did it for me because, so she went and saw the cereal. He says, stay with the High Lord. And then I remember highlighting a line where she was like, High Lord, High Lord, High Lord, High Lord. But then when she came back and Alice was like, you think I don't know what you did today? You think the cooks don't talk when you ask for a whole chicken? Like, for real? You think I don't know what you did? And then she said the line, I have it highlighted. The next time that fool Lucian gives you advice on how to trap the cereal, you come to me. Dead chicken's my sagging ass. All you needed to do was offer it a new robe and it would have groveled at your feet. And I literally highlighted it and I said, I want to crochet every cereal a fresh warm robe. Because it killed me. Because, like, what? They're supposed to be, like, one of the oldest Fae.
Yeah.
And they, like, their skin sags off their bones. And you offer them food or a new robe and they'll give you whatever you want. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I just want to take care of them. I love them to death. I think I remember being like, ee, whenever they were dancing together.
Oh, yeah,
solstice.
because he teased her at Callan May.
Oh, because he bit her neck.
Because he bit her, yeah.
Yeah, Callan May, she snuck out of the house when she wasn't supposed to, after strict instructions.
Oh, because you heard the stupid beats of the drums, right?
Yeah.
She's like, it was calling me.
I
You
highlighted.
dumb girl. And then he bit her on the neck, and that was sexy. So I mean, I guess all's fair in love and war.
Right.
But then the summer solstice came, and that was when she drank the Fey wine after Lucian told her not to.
Yeah.
Is that what they said? Oh,
And then Lucian like apologized to because Tamlin came over and he was like, "I'm so sorry, Tamlin. Like I tried to get her to stop." And then Tamlin said something that was just like so casual. He was like, "Whatever." Like I can't even remember what he said, but he like clearly didn't care. And then she ended up dancing while he played his music, and
I remember reading that and being like,
I read
we're
it
so
while.
close.
So this whole book I read while listening to like Celtic, like fantasy music, and it was so good because like there were some bits where it was like really like high beat like battle type music whenever it was like she was in like like a life or death situation, and then like in this moment whenever she was like dancing to his like music, it was like all like flittery and like it was like the perfect music for that, and it was just like I was there, and it was I loved it. It was like I was there and I was dancing with her.
I was eating that up because I mean they stay like until sunrise, right? Like that was the whole thing, was like they're out like all night. And so he like took her away to go like watch the sunrise somewhere else.
Yeah.
I was dying.
That was so sweet.
It was so sweet.
So what caught me kind of off guard is normally like when you read like a slow burn book, they don't just like have sex like right away. Like especially since I knew that these were like romanticities.
Sure.
And it took like her and Tamlin a little while to like get to like that point where it was obvious that they liked each other. But like I felt like they ended up having sex pretty quickly. Like I mean it wasn't until it was like right before she left.
But it didn't feel like there was much build up for the two of them.
No, it wasn't like a huge
Because truly, like, the summer solstice was where they really acted, like, truly interested in one another and, like, alone.
And to be fair, they only spent a few months together.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, for you
And
to
she
be
spent
taken
at
away
least
from
a
your
full
home.
month pouting.
Yeah.
True. Being taken away from your home, completely uprooted from your family that you've been taking care of for years. And then just like having to go like learning all about the Fae life and like learning all of these politics and landscapes and
all
whatnot.
these like creatures that you've literally never seen or heard of before.
Right. And then to go through all of that and then just within 3 months and then just be like, oh yeah, I like you, so let's sleep together.
That's when I was like, because at that point we had already been introduced to Reese.
Right.
So then I was like, knowing like fantasy books, romantasy specifically, I was like, I feel like her and Tamlin got together like a little too quickly, and it like got me a little worried that like, are they gonna stay together? Are they gonna last? Especially since we have this recent character introduced, like, and it's clear she said it was the most handsome man she had ever seen.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Don't get me wrong, I love Tam Tam, and I'm really trying to enjoy him. But whenever I saw that, like, though I was so happy it happened, I was like, yes, they like finally like get together. But then like.
But
what
about the dark and brooding
What about the
one?
slow burn?
Remember what we talked about? If they have blonde hair and light eyes, he's
not the one, Queen. He's not the one for you.
No.
To all the girls dating blonde men, sorry. He's just the Tamlin.
He's just the Dane.
He's just the Dane.
Oh
my God. So he tells her, hey, I'm going to send you back home. I know things have been really nice here, and you've made a home here, but now you have to leave.
Literally, he says, I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Like, I know he did it for her safety. And, like, I tried to play devil's advocate of, like, I so get it. Like, he loves her too much to, like, put her in danger, especially since he knows Amarantha, and he knows Amarantha is probably just going to kill her, even if they, like...
Do you think maybe whenever he told her that, as she was leaving, he was hoping that she would say it back in that moment? Because he's like, I'm taking care of you, and I'm doing, like, the ultimate sacrifice of sending you back with your family, whom you love and you've missed for the past few months. And so, like, me telling you that I love you on the way out
I
would
think
make
that
you
he was
say it
hoping
back.
that because like we later
I think
learned
so.
out. What'd you say?
I think so.
We later learned that they were literally incapable of telling her about the curse. So it wasn't like and I feel like that was like Lucian's way of him when he was like, can't we have a few more days? That was his way of saying like, give her time to say that she loves you.
Right.
But I do think like him doing
That was, like, his last resort.
last resort of like,
Yeah.
and she knew it. Like in her mind, she was like, I love him.
And she literally,
And she didn't say it.
said, "I'll wait until I see him again." Y'all, when she came back, when she decided like Tamlin is in trouble, like I have to go back, I have to leave my family, I need to go back and find him. And Alice finally starts telling her the truth, right? Like she finally starts giving her all the tea. And she says, if that girl said to his face that she loved him and meant it with her entire heart. You were asleep when I read that line.
That's right.
You were asleep.
That's right.
Because it was like 2:00 in the morning. And I was irate.
Yeah.
I truly don't know that I've ever felt anger like that before. Because I remember reading, Feyre said, I love him too, but I'm going to wait until I get back. I don't want to say I love you with goodbye. I'm going to wait. And then for Alice to say, yeah, you know, if the girl would have just said that she loved him, you know, would have broken the curse.
Why did Alice wait until then to say something?
Because I don't think she was allowed.
No, she was under the curse too.
They couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
But I thought she told her before they went under the mountain.
She
but
did.
the curse at that point was like, it wasn't broken, but
It was kind of in shambles because
Yeah.
like everything had kind of fallen apart when she took Tamlin under.
So they at that point they were capable of telling her everything except about his stone heart. That was the only thing that they were still
Yes.
incapable of telling her.
Yeah.
Because at that point the curse expired. So like they were still cursed with the mask.
Because
and
technically the
stuff.
3 days that was like at the end.
Yeah. And then oh my gosh,
But it
everything
wasn't up though, right?
The 3 days was up.
at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, it had been months. She went back to her family, and it had been like I think a couple months before
Was
she
it really
came back.
months?
It was, or at the very least weeks. Like it was because I remember her saying in the book like I can only imagine what Tamlin looks like because it's been weeks. So
I
not
interpret
months,
it
but-
as like she was gone for at least a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then Alice tells her, if only the girl would have just said she loved him. I literally, my note on there says, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated.
Mhm.
So then she thinks she's doing the selfless thing and finds her way under the mountain.
Mhm.
Because truly, what couldn't she do? You know, the 90-pound little
Human. Yeah.
What couldn't she do?
Literally.
You know? Just
The girl, oh, you mean the girl who keeps puking her guts up
Yeah.
every 20 seconds?
Mhm. Yeah.
whose bowels are constantly so watery. So watery.
Those bits.
Queen
oh my
got
god.
IBS.
She got IBS.
Oh, she needs some Tums. She need a Pepto.
She need a Pepto.
She just
Ain't no Peptos under the mountain, baby.
no, baby. Oh,
Uh-huh.
when she gets under the mountain
Mhm.
and she sees Claire.
Oh, yes.
That made my heart sink.
Well, because she had heard whenever she went home
Mhm.
that something had happened to the whole family.
That their house burned down.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find
And
Claire's
she
body.
was like, oh God,
Mhm.
please let that just be like,
Mhm.
how ironic.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh. And then to get down there and to
Yeah.
see her
Mhm.
mutilated and deformed body on the wall. Absolutely good.
That's something else
Gutted.
about, sorry to bring up Recent again, but the fact that he knew what Feyre looked like, and he knew,
Yep.
like, he probably even knew her name because he was like inside her mind.
Yeah.
He didn't
So-
know her name.
Oh, he didn't know her name?
He didn't. Maybe you just learned that in book 2, but he didn't know her name.
Okay.
I think it's in book 2, but
Mm-hmm.
he like says the line like, I was really hoping you had made up a fake name.
Oh, okay.
So like,
Yeah, but he had
But he
seen
had-
visions of her, didn't he?
yes.
But he at the
So
very
he like
least,
knew at least what she looked like,
Yeah,
and
he
he
knew-
knew that she was not Claire.
Yeah,
No.
and like he knew that he gave Amaranth
A fake name.
a fake name,
He knew that.
and the fact that he like did that, and then also like the whole time under the mountain, he is the reason why she survived. Like she would
Hands
not
down.
have survived
Lu-
without Reese.
Freaking Lucian, who was supposed to be like her pal at that point,
Mm-hmm.
he showed up a couple times. Like he helped her like once or
And,
twice.
and the
Yeah.
worm, right? With the worm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, because he yelled
something.
out at her.
But
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmingly absent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if a hot, dark, and brooding fae shows up and says, "Hey, I'll heal all your wounds after you just fought a giant Alaskan
Mhm.
bullworm in the mud.
Yeah.
All you got to do is come hang out with me for 1 week a month. Sign me up.
I say, how about 4 weeks a month?
How about all the time?
Yeah. How about
Yeah.
I just come live with you? Actually,
What? Truly,
my schedule's open.
I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm free. Get me out of this hellhole.
Get me out of my haystack that
I'm
I'm
free.
sitting on right now. Yeah.
Haystack. God, she
The
really was
whole-
struggling.
The whole time under the mountain too, it was like a whole nother book. Like,
Oh my god! And when she couldn't read,
girl.
and then Reese helps her.
Yeah. And then he offers her, and he
With
says
the
something.
eyeball in his hand?
Yeah. At the end of the book, he says something like, maybe like, whenever you come, like, I can make one of your punishments like learning to read.
Mhm.
And I was like, he likes her.
He thinks she's pretty. Oh my god. Under the Mountain is truly a whole other book.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying when you were over here reading the other day, and you're talking about where you were, and I looked at Alana, and I was like, it's crazy to think that she's got a whole other book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That second half of the book, an entirely different novel.
Yep.
Mhm.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really didn't think that Amarantha was going to die, but I'm so glad that she did. Because...
What a nice time.
And then she had the ring, didn't she?
Yeah.
The ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jurian's ring.
Jurian's ring.
Mhm.
His eyeball.
And they didn't know where it went.
Mhm.
So that scares me. That
Ooh.
scares me.
Ooh. Amarantha, truly a beast.
I hate
Yeah.
her.
A beast.
She...
I,
And then, oh, I highlighted it
I
whenever...
think she's probably sexy, though.
Yeah. Well, she even Favor says though, like she's not hard to look at, but she's not the most beautiful like woman she's ever seen.
Right.
Which was like,
Probably just like an intimidating.
Yeah.
That's because she
definitely.
thinks Elaine's the most beautiful woman she's ever seen, and I just doubt that, too.
I thought this part was so funny whenever they broke the curse, and then she realized that she was about to die. She literally said to Tamlin, "Please." I highlighted it. Where is it?
When she had to stab the three Fae as the last,
Yeah.
the third trial.
Mm-hmm. My heart sunk. I was like, please. And I'm so glad she figured out the last part of the curse. Otherwise, like,
But she had to kill.
mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I know truly that, like, it's the sacrifice of the few to save the many,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's what you're doing. But as this poor little beaten down human girl, you're going to take this on? You have taken on
Yep.
their literal devil, right? Like the antithesis of everything that these people of Prithian believe in and want. That nobody, all of the High Lords and all of the High Fae can't manage to figure out a way around this curse that she has put on them. And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, I'll stab the three Fae. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why all the Fae at the end were like wanted to end, like wanted to give her life again and wanted to like make her a high fae because they saw like the courage that she had.
Yeah.
This puny human knowing that she had none of the abilities that they had. So the fact that she would sacrifice her life.
Also, how sad.
Yeah.
How sad this human had to come in here
And like she knows none of these
and
people.
save you all.
Yeah,
Save you
literally.
all
of the High Lords
Yeah.
of the court.
All of them. They were
Couldn't
all
stand up to
there.
Amarantha. I highlighted this part where, okay, it says, Tamlin's still-masked face twisted into something truly lupine as he raised his eyes to the queen and snarled, fangs lengthened. Amarantha backed away from my corpse. She only whispered, please, before gold light exploded. The queen was blasted back, thrown against the far wall. The fact that she was like, she immediately was like, please.
She
like,
knew.
I was like, oh, wow of you to even plead after you just tortured her.
I love to watch a bitch beg.
Beg. Yeah.
No.
I said,
Yeah.
I said, oh wow, the absolute cowardice audacity of you, you disappointment of a so-called high fae.
That.
Ouch.
That. And then she doesn't even like know what she is.
No.
Like she doesn't even know what power she has. She has no idea what she has within her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of the High Lords of all of the courts have just given you a little drop of their power. What are you made of? That's crazy.
I remember like reading how she, like when she woke up in the middle of the night, she was like having to get used to the way that she walked because she was like taller, she was stronger when they went up the hill. She was like, I wasn't like weak by the time we got up there. Also, the end of the book. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say? Oh, the end of the book with Rhys.
I knew that's where we were going.
Like, it wasn't, I was surprised that it didn't, like, because, like, obviously that was a cliffhanger, but I'm surprised it didn't end on, like, a bigger cliffhanger than that.
No,
but,
she, like, wrapped it up in a little bow. Like, it could have been the end of the series.
It really could have. I'm so glad it wasn't.
That's exactly what I told her, though. I was like, she truly ended it in a way that, like, that could have been it.
Yeah.
You can imagine how the rest of the story goes, like.
But when I'm so confused because it says that Rhys, like, they were, like, he was saying goodbye or whatever, and then Rhys looked at her, and it says that he, like, his eyes widened, and he looked, like, frightened, and he, like, literally fell back. And I know you guys know what happened, and I don't know what happens, like, because my first thought was, like, okay, something is on her face, like, something happened to her face, or she looks a certain way, but then I'm like, maybe it's something that he senses in her mind. Like, maybe, because, like, he can kind of read her mind. So I was like, maybe he can, like, read her mind. Or, like...
Maybe something.
Maybe he's sensing something. And then... So this is my theory.
Okay.
And I could be wrong. I'm not good with theories, by the way.
Hide your face.
I could be really wrong. This is just my theory. So, earlier in the book, they talk about... Tamlin talks about how they have marriage, and then they have mating. They have mates. And that's, like... so much bigger and like so much more important than marriage. Like they don't even bother with marriage because it's such a like a bigger bond and so much like more of an emotional bond. And so in that moment I was like, maybe he can somehow sense that like they're to be mates somehow. But I still don't know if it's like he felt that or if he saw something on her face, because it was like, it seemed like something, because they had been talking for a while. So I
Right.
feel like he had been looking at her. So unless something just like magically appeared on her face, so I feel like it had to have been something that like he sensed from her, or like
Yeah.
that he read in her mind, and I have no idea what it was.
Definitely something he sensed, but
Mhm.
you also have to consider that if it was the mate thing, why wouldn't he have known before?
Yeah, that is true.
He'd
That's
been
the
with
only
her
other
for how
thing.
long was she under the mountain?
A while.
Like, because I mean, they didn't do the trials every day, so I mean,
Yeah, it had been like weeks.
yeah,
Mhm.
it
That's
is.
true.
It is a good. It's a good theory.
Mhm.
I do. You're on the right track. I think.
Okay.
I think you can.
Yeah.
Once you start the first book, you'll kind of start to pick up on little things.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm assuming they will eventually reveal.
The second book has a lot of information.
Yeah.
it is
With Reese.
so.
Mm.
He is a huge part of that book.
Okay.
So
That's why it's one of the slower starts for me.
Yes.
I think because you have to think this is the whole of Prithian, and she has only just touched the surface of the Spring Court.
Yeah.
So the next book truly like delves into the entire like how everything else works, all the other like it is a lot of information.
Okay.
yeah, because you definitely get more into like the politics side of it as you
Okay.
continue the books. Because
Yeah.
there is a lot of politics. There are High Lords,
Mhm.
and there are different courts, and they all run differently.
Mhm.
And then Amarantha screwed all of it up, and
Yeah.
so like they all have to figure out what they're doing next.
Mhm.
And just because Amarantha's dead, the King of Highburn is still out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
like it all kind of
Mhm.
plays a part. And the reason Reese is such a big part of that book is like as you see in book 1, Tamlin is very protective. So when he has Feyre, they don't leave the Spring Court as they never have before. And so when she has to go with Reese to the Night Court that 1 week a month, that's where she like learns the most.
Okay.
And so a lot of especially like the first half of that second book is her being inundated with so much knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's honestly really cool. Looking back on it, I think if I reread it, I would appreciate the first half of the book
Yeah.
more than I did the first time because it is also interesting and it's also cool, but I just like wanted to get to the good stuff. You know, you just want to get to the like, okay, so what's the story? Like what are we doing? What's happening?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I mean, like, to be fair, like, it's kind of it's in Feyre's perspective, too. I mean, you're looking through her eyes, her
Yeah.
perspective of, oh, there's so much to learn. There's so much that I still don't know. And, like, for Reese to be teaching her stuff and, like, learning how to read, learning
Yeah.
how to write. Like, that's a whole thing in and of itself. And then, like,
That's like
coming
a
to light with
whole
the Spring Court.
that's a whole part of this book that I think is really cool is that we're learning this story through the eyes of Feyre, who knows as little as we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in other stories with a character that is already immersed in this world, you pick up pieces as they come up. As they deem you need to know the information, they give it to you. But we're truly learning as she's learning, which I think is really neat.
Yeah.
Because then you can, like, you read the whole series and then you look back on the first book, you're like, you're dumb.
As were
How
we.
did you not know?
As
Yeah,
were we.
exactly, because
Yeah.
we were
So
in
dumb.
her shoes.
Yeah.
We were Feyre.
We're Feyre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're
So
I'm fine with that.
yeah, that's honestly
Should we start
so
wrapping?
we're Feyre. So how does the first book end?
The first book ends,
It was like a happily ever after with Tamlin, right? They
Yeah.
went back to the house.
and then Reese, like, she felt that, like, Reese was there. She could, like, because with their bond or whatever, she could feel that he was there, and then he just wanted to say, like,
Oh, because when she
goodbye.
died, right? And she was brought back to life. Wasn't there the tether with Reese?
Yes, because
He
of the
kept
bond.
her.
Yeah, because, like, she saw him herself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he just, like, came to say goodbye, and then that's when he stumbled back, and it literally ends there, like,
Yeah,
where he just stumbles back and, like,
because she literally
Flies
says what,
away.
like, let's go home or something. She finds Tamlin and he's like, let's go home
Yeah.
or something like that.
that was right after the mountain.
I thought they were still under the mountain when she was talking to Reese.
Yeah, Reese.
Oh,
Reese
you're right.
Left
Yes,
right
yes, yes.
after, or like right before they left under the mountain.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, so this was right before and then they just, like, walked up the hill and were like, let's go home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she says. I stepped out of Tamlin's arms and kissed him softly. Tomorrow, there would be tomorrow and an eternity to face what I had done, to face what I shredded into pieces inside myself while under the mountain. But for now, for today, let's go home, I said, and took his hand.
Mm-hmm.
It really does wrap up beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she could have cut it there.
Mm-hmm. So glad she didn't.
Thank God she didn't.
Thank God.
Because there would have been so many like unanswered questions.
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah.
she built such a good world
Yeah.
to discover. Oh,
Yeah. So let's go over what we rated out of 5.
ooh.
1 through 5. I'll start. I gave it a 4 just because I rated them after I read all the books. So
Totally fair.
looking back, the first book is definitely a 4 for me.
In the moment, I rated it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Going forward, knowing how good like the next one is and how good
Mm-hmm.
Wings and Ruin is so far, I might even give it a 3. But I think on its own, as one book,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely a 4. It's a 4 out of 5.
Because I try to, sorry,
No, you're good.
I try to like remember how I felt when I first read it, and it
Yes.
was so hard to get through that first half for me, just because there was so much information, so much like dragged on, and so I was like, I don't know if I can continue this. And then whenever she got through Under the Mountain, and then that just like page
Oh, you
turner,
fly.
I was flying through
Oh,
those
yeah.
pages, and so that's why I was like, okay, I could see why the hype is here. Like this is
Absolutely.
definitely a 4 for me.
Yeah. I would give it a 4 out of 5 too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed like the first part of the book like more than I thought I would, but knowing that there is more to come and knowing that we do learn more about Reese in
Right.
the second book and like so forth and so on, I'm gonna give it a 4 just for that wiggle room.
I think
Of,
that's
like,
totally fair.
Like I don't think it was a perfect book, but I still love the story and I still think it was a
Yeah.
4.
Now, as far as like spice goes,
Not
it's
that
been a minute since
spicy.
I read it, but like I would
really
say like a
don't think it's, like,
1 or a
anything.
2 out of 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like they talk about like they delve in it a little bit, but it's nowhere near like
I would say like a 1.
What you'd
Like
think,
that is like
yeah.
nothing compared
No.
to.
yeah. It definitely wasn't closed door. Like it was
No,
still
it was an
door,
open door,
but it wasn't
crazy.
it wasn't crazy.
I would say if you're new to like spice, this is honestly like a pretty decent series.
Yeah.
I mean, start out on book 1 and it gets spicier
Yes,
and
yes.
you grow
Yeah.
with the book.
Until you get to Silver Flames.
Sure,
Yeah.
you just grow with it.
Yeah.
But it definitely starts off like low key.
Yes.
It's really not bad.
Yeah. I feel like this was a good first episode.
Yeah. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
So this was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the next one.
Yes.
We will be going through the whole series. Haley's just now finished the first book, so we're gonna get to the second. I'm still halfway through the third. But stick with us. We're getting through this series. We are also we're going back and we are reading some of John Green's best hits.
Yeah.
We were huge John Green fans in middle school and high school. We've all read several of his books. And so we thought it would be fun to go back and revisit them as adults and kind of see what stands the test of time and what's like, all right, this was a little cringe. You know, so that will be coming soon as well. So stick around. We can't stop reading. The bookshelves are endless.
Yeah. Thank you for watching Bookish Bites. We had so much fun hanging out with you and talking about ACOTAR. Let us know what you think about ACOTAR, what your favorite moments are, what are you currently reading, what do you want to read, what do you want us to read and go over.
We'll read it all.
Yeah, we have so many things that we could talk about. And just make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications that you know when we drop our episodes. So, thank you for watching.